Okay, we're hearing cause number 124766 in the estate of James D. Lynch. We have a temporary restraining order that was used for a temporary injunction. We also have a, well, that's not for the court today. But Patterson, you may proceed. Who's talking in the background?
Hey, can y'all turn this off? They want that turned off.
Good morning, Your Honor. Thank you for waiting patiently while I was dealing with other matters in the district courts.
Okay, let's proceed.
All right, I'll call Mr. Rodriguez first. Mr. Rodriguez, can you state your name for the record?
I'm Andrew Rodriguez.
Witness and attorney.
I'm sorry?
Mr. Rodriguez, an attorney?
No, he is not. He is the power of attorney for his mother, who is 94 years old. And Mr. Rodriguez, were you able to bring her into the office this morning?
Yes, she's here. She's 78 years old.
I apologize. All right.
Mr. Rodriguez, if you'll raise your right hand, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this cause should be the truth so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Right here.
No, thank you. My apology. Mr. Rodriguez, can you state your name for the record, please?
Brian Andrew Rodriguez.
And what is your current residence?
Port Neches, Texas.
Okay. And who is your mother?
Lana Lynch.
Okay. And where does Miss Lynch live?
She lives in Port Acres on Highway 365, Port Arthur.
Okay. And was that is that the marital residence?
Yes, sir.
Now, is there also was there a time when Miss Lynch was not residing at the marital residence?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when was that from?
It's been just a couple years since she got put in the wheelchair, but she was staying there off and on with my dad. And when she was able to drive, when she got put in the wheelchair, it's my brother brings her over there and visits with him. And she just wasn't able to go back and forth anymore because of her wheelchair.
Okay.
She can't drive no more.
Now, you said your dad. Are you identifying Mr. Lynch as your father, the deceased?
Yes, sir.
And is he your biological father?
No, sir.
Okay. So at what point in time did you come to know him as your dad?
I think I was about 7 years old, 8 years old.
Okay.
About 50 years ago.
Were he and Miss Lynch married?
Yes, sir.
For how many years?
49 years. I think it'll be 50 years this year they've been married.
And were they married at the time of his passing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, since his passing, have items been removed from the marital residence?
Yes, sir.
Can you identify to the court what those items, or some of those items at least?
Everything, but the only thing that wasn't taken from the house is the furniture, the inside of the house, a generator, and a freezer in the garage. Everything else was taken.
Were multiple vehicles taken from the residence?
3 vehicles.
Were those vehicles purchased during the marriage?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you know the status of those vehicles as to whether or not they've been sold?
I believe they all 3 been sold.
Was there a dump truck that was one of those vehicles?
Yes, sir.
And was that dump truck in fact sold for $8,000 to your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, were there also some accounts that your father had?
Yes, sir. He had multiple accounts. He had savings, checking, savings, and IRAs in his name, or CDs. I don't know exactly what they are, but we show records of 98,000 in his primary. And then in his checking, 55,000. And then there was this money marketing had 13,000. Then there's an IRA had 6,000. And then there's what is this one here? A certificate, it had 18,000.
Now, Mr. Rodriguez, as of October of 2019, did those accounts have anyone else on them?
October, not to my knowledge.
Okay. Now, or what, I'm sorry, it was October of 2020. As of October 2020, did those accounts have any other names on them?
On the money market, they did have James Lynch, Tanya Dupree, and Billy Lynch Sr.
Okay, and that was as of October, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, now, we've submitted to the court the statements that you're looking at as Exhibit B, I believe. Are there also statements there from February of 21?
Yes.
Okay. And were those statements mailed to Mr. Lynch's residence on a regular basis?
Yes, until they changed the they changed the address and had it all forwarded to Tanya Lynch, Tanya Dupree's address, and my mom had to try to get it sent back to the house because we couldn't intercept none of the mail.
All right. Now, at this time, Your Honor, we'll offer into evidence Exhibit B.
No objection, Your Honor.
Pardon me, Mr. Byrne?
No objection.
Okay, it's admitted.
Okay. Now, as of February, were several names added to those accounts?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when was your father hospitalized? Mr. Rodriguez, please only answer the questions that you have personal knowledge of. If you can't answer them, then I will ask.
I can't answer that.
Okay.
I know Saturday, I want to say the 2nd, my mom and dad was together. And I want to say maybe Wednesday after that, he went into the hospital. I just don't know for sure the dates.
Are you saying of January or February?
January.
Okay, Mr. Rodriguez, please do not have anyone else in the office tell you anything during your testimony, please.
Okay.
I will ask other individuals when I call them as a witness, okay? Please only testify as to what you have personal knowledge of,
Yes, sir.
okay? Now, what else was taken from the house?
They wanted to come do an inventory of the items inside the house, and my mom allowed that. And they just went, I mean, we got pictures of them taking pots and pans and wall hangings, radios, ice chests. They just took stuff, and then we got upset over it because they were just supposed to do an inventory, and that the pots, they belonged to my mom. They was her mother's pots. And anyway, I got a little upset about it, and Tanya and them wanted to come back to the garage and take everything out of the garage and sell. And I said, that's fine. You bring mama's pot back. Anyway, she did bring the pot back like a month later, but she come over to sell the low boy and the Georgia buggy. It's a concrete deal that you can haul concrete in. And she promised me she was not going to take my daddy's swing. My mom and dad used to sit in that swing. He built that for them. And she took it anyway while I was at work and my mom's in the house, and my mom witnessed her take it, put it on the low boy. The guys that bought the low boy and Georgia buggy brought it to her house and dropped it off. And that's something she promised she would not take, and she did.
Okay, and now we've also submitted Exhibit A to the court. And can you tell the court about the picture that Mr. Pui posted to Facebook?
Yes, it was just, it's her sitting on the swing, and she was just boasting. I told you I was going to get my daddy's swing. And it states, well, I said I was going to get my daddy's swing.
Hold on.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at a different Exhibit 1 than what I'm looking at.
Okay, is that, do you see?
Excuse me. The Facebook post that I have that's listed Exhibit A on my list is one where she's saying, "Let it rain."
Oh, yeah. Let
Oh.
it flood.
Now, I'll tell you what, Mr. Rodriguez, are you aware of the post that shows a photograph of the flooding at your mother's residence?
Yes, sir.
All right. And was that a post Mr. Pui posted to Facebook?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that, can you describe what is said in that post?
The court can read it.
Okay, we'll introduce at this time Exhibit 1, Judge.
Any objections, Mr. Vernon?
No, sir.
Okay, it'll be admitted.
Okay. I'm in a hearing, Luke. I'm sorry. I get back. Okay. I'm sorry, Judge. I'm up at the courthouse, and I've got a trial later this afternoon starting as well. So the prosecutor had approached me. I apologize. Now, have there been? Well, I'll tell you what. Have any estate funds been distributed to your mother?
Nothing. I mean, no, not even no communication, nothing about none of it. You know, it goes all the way back to the
Let me
funeral.
interrupt you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vernon, can you tell me what your position is? I don't know whether we're in a position to short circuit this, but the inventory is due tomorrow in this case.
Your Honor,
I'm willing to hear whatever you want to present as far as evidence, but it's apparent to me that apparently the representative of the estate does not understand anything about community property, and it's disposing of things in which Ms. Lynch has a half ownership interest in. So if they've been married, if it's true that they've been married for over 48, 49 years, then he is not at liberty to just go out and start taking things and selling them or emptying accounts. So, you know, what's your proposal for getting this resolved right now so that we can?
I'm sorry, I missed the very last part, Your Honor. You said proposal for getting this resolved, and then you.
Yeah, and what is your position with regard to the temporary injunction?
Well, the court has currently suspended the letters testamentary, so the executor can't sell anything. These executors fine with not communicating with Mrs. Lynch, fine with not destroying any evidence. I would say, though, that the funds were, as you can see by our Exhibit 1, were in a joint account with right of survivorship, so they pass outside of probate. And they were the.
Okay. That change was made December 15th, 2020. And those were community funds, were they not?
They were sole management community funds.
Okay, well, I'm going to allow them the opportunity to come in. I think there might be a question as to whether or not there was a fraud committed on the community estate, but I'm going to suggest that y'all get together in the interim and try to get this resolved before we have full hearings on the deal.
Yes, sir. Can I ask a question real quick?
You may.
You want us to file the inventory even though the letters have been suspended?
There's still a requirement that that the inventory be filed.
Yes, sir. Okay, we'll get them filed tomorrow.
Okay, I'm going to continue the injunction in place. And I'm going to order y'all to mediation.
Yes, sir.
And that's to take place within 30 days.
You say
might have
30?
to come back to the court at the end of that 30-day period for a status conference. And so I hope y'all were able to get it resolved, but let me know in the interim if you need the court's assistance with anything, and I'll be happy to schedule you, Mr. Vernon or Mr. Wilkerson, whenever y'all need the court.
Yes, sir. Before we cut off, can I ask Mr. Wilkerson a quick question?
Yes, sir.
Do you want me to contact you tomorrow since you have trial this afternoon about selecting a mediator?
Yep. I tell you what, let's try and correspond by email. Because unless for some reason that trial does not go, it's 2 aggravated robbery charges on a court-appointed client, numbered 1 in the court. And so unless the victims are no-shows, the trial is likely to go for several days.
Okay, I'll contact you by email then.
Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Vernon, in order to save the parties time and expense, if you want to use a Jefferson County dispute resolution facility, that will be fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the
All right.
the only issue with that, Judge, is that we will not be able to meet the 30-day requirement of the court. To my knowledge, they're backed up or booked out, I believe, about 2 months.
Okay, well, let me know if there's a problem or if y'all want to select an independent mediator.
Thank you, Judge.
You got report to me by Friday what your agreement is.
Yes,
Or the absence of agreement, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, y'all have a great one.
yes, sir. You too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody else.